Welcome, or as they say in Wales, Borodar, is that right? To the Splitfire Gaming Podcast review of the Cardiff Christmas Crusade that Scott and I went to ages ago. And then, apologies, we haven't made the review video as quickly as we thought we would. But ignoring that, life gets in the way.
Filthy real life.
If we could just sit here and talk about fantasy all day and someone would give us money, I mean, that would be the ideal. But it's not going to happen.
Nice to think about, though.
That would be ideal. But anyway, as you can tell, Scott's back to discuss how we did and what we thought of the Christmas Crusade. Welcome back, Scott, for the
Thank you.
billionth time.
Apologise ahead of time for any coughing or sniffing. I'm, as probably everybody else is in the current climate, loaded with cold.
Nurgle has bestowed his gifts to you for the Christmas period.
Old fat daddy.
Grandpapa Nurgle. That's I've got over a cold, so I'm on the way out. But I could easily get it again just to join in.
Yeah, why not?
So, what did you think of the Cardiff Christmas Crusade?
Genuinely, I thought I had a really good time. I thought it was a really good event, very fun. As ever, the venue, Firestorm Game in Cardiff, is just like an incredible venue.
Yes.
Like the venue is just phenomenal for anyone who can get to one of the events. Like the venue's worth it alone, and that's not taken away from Chris or the event that he runs. But the venue's incredible. But
it is. It's nice to look over that mezzanine floor and just through all the glass. It's just very
it's really good. But no, I had a night speaking to pretty much everyone else. I thought it was a really good event. Cardiff is obviously savage. However, we did find an incredible burger restaurant, which is, definitely a highlight.
Except the blasted music it played.
Except the blasted music, which was ridiculous. Maybe we're just old and we just want a burger and a pint in peace.
In silence.
Yeah, don't you people dare speak to me. Just give me the burger and get out.
Though we did go to the pizza restaurant that wouldn't serve us the first time round, but then they did serve us this time. They put us by the door, the main door, even though the restaurant was empty. And the main door was to cook a pizza. We're now sidelining into a restaurant review, and they put us right by the door, which wouldn't close, and it was freezing. So I had to get up every time somebody left to shut the door, and I thought someone would notice it, and they didn't. But I'm too passive aggressive to actually say, "Will you move us to a table that's actually habitable?"
They did not get a tip though, did they?
No tip. No
tip. That's how passive aggressive we are. But no, the event was really good. I thought, considering there was a dropout or two, so that Beef, who normally helps Chris run the event and whatnot, had to when he took part in the event.
Was that what the case was?
Yeah, that's why Chris was running the whole event solo, and there was 38 attendees.
Yeah, I have to say, other than the one redraw, which didn't cause any problems that I noticed, I didn't notice anything go wrong at all.
No, to be fair, I think for a solo run event of that size, I thought he did an absolute standout job. And to be honest, I had a nice time. I had 5 games that were really enjoyable. Everyone I played was a good laugh. Everyone I was just chatting to during the games, like at lunch, also had a good time. So yeah, it was a good event. I mean, it was so good that we're already booked to go to the next one.
Yes, they've already sold out for the next one, which
he's
generally that's really good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, there's 14 tickets. There's 16 more released, and I think he's already sold 2 of them. So
it's already up to 50 attendees for the next one, which is happening in.
Is it the last week of March or the first week of April? I can't
remember. First week of March. It's the 4th and 5th of March. If anyone. By the time this goes out, there might still be some left. If anyone does want to attend an event and can get to Cardiff for that weekend, I would definitely recommend it. Yeah, like I say, we're already booked up. We're there. We'll be there, and there's a good chunk of us again going down from the northeast. We've got
representing again
about 8 minimum plus. plus Howie and his collection of reprobates.
The York team.
The York B team, because obviously we'll have to include Chris and James in the A. Well, Chris in the A team, and then he comes with a filthy stealth Brett filth player.
There's a bit of a grey area between the two, but anyway.
Yeah.
But like yourself, I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. I enjoyed speaking to all the people that you see at all these events, regulars. There was quite a few people I'd never seen before, actually, so it was good.
Yeah,
some more interest.
That's bring up. Actually, I thought like some people that we've not met in any of the other GTs that we've been doing stuff like that, which was, like you said, really cool. Nice, always nice to meet like new people who are like love the game.
Yeah, everyone I played again, I had a really good time. 5 really good games. I'll get into the problems I ran into, which were all self-generated. We'll go through that.
Yes, as remember, as we took. What can we be described as skewed lists?
I said it was a meme list, my one. And then my laughter at saying, oh, look how I've managed to fit 5 Phoenixes into a list. How great am I? Just turned to ash.
No spoilers. Yeah.
We'll get into. So we just thought we'd flick through the games we played. We might not remember them exactly as they happened because it has been quite a while, but we do have some pictures. So we'll try our best, and then we'll just discuss.
What could possibly go wrong? People look for the absolute smooth and faultless operation that you running here.
Listen, right, this is just as good as what Mini Wargaming puts out.
Well, it's got less errors in it.
I'm never going to get invited onto Steve's channel at this rate. Never mind. Anyway, all I have to do is stand at the back going, "You've forgotten Steadfast."
That's not how that rule works.
So, because of the way I've queued these photos up, it looks like you'll have to go first. What was your first game then?
My first game was against High Elves, one of the many techless lists.
He was very popular this time.
He was popular. Yeah, he was, particularly on Battle Magic. And what was also very popular, and hats off for the way he played him, was that you could put him in a bunker of Phoenix Guard with 2 other characters in full command, so you could also hide him in the second rank.
I've never seen the Ogre system of character hiding being applied to High Elves.
Yeah, well, he did with this, and to be fair, it worked because it prevented us from killing him, and made up for the fact that the guy doesn't come with a ward save. So this first game against him was really good fun. To be honest, so I was one of the guys from like coincidentally relatively local in Concert. Yes, fairly standard higher. Well, standard. That's rude. You had a little block of White Lions, a block of Phoenix Guard, one singular Phoenix, some Reavers, blah blah blah, and Techless, and a couple of other characters. And you and I were chatting before the game and thinking how would it go, and I said it's going to go one of 2 ways. Either Techless is going to dominate the magic phase, and I will get whooped, or it won't dominate the magic phase, and I will do the whooping. Now, to cut a long story short, for a start, I absolutely forgot that Manfred can reroll power dice to generate the magic phase, so that started really well, which was hilarious to everybody except me for the rest of the weekend when I remembered. So that's what I get for using a special character I've never used before. But he did turn out to be an absolute god for the weekend.
To be fair, you only included him pretty well, not last minute, but minute.
Yeah, once I realised that my dream of taking 4 Terrorgeists was never going to happen because I simply did not have enough time to paint it. However, like there's no doubt that Manfred made me list better. I just wish I'd actually learned these rules beforehand. But that's on me. I played VC for long enough that really I should know every single rule in that book.
So did you practice this list?
No.
Well,
have a practice game. That's crazy. But the game The game was a very good game. Very swingy in places until it wasn't swingy. I had some good moments. However, it was very much dominated by the fact that Teclis and Sam didn't roll less than a 7 for his magic dice, and he only rolled that once. More often than not, he had double figures magic dice.
That's exactly what Teclis wants, I would have thought.
Yeah, and then the fact that he cast it as a level 5, he essentially just bullied us in the magic phase. And I was very, very thankful that I had won the objective, which was, remember back to hold the ground, where you got in the middle of the board.
Let's just have a look at the. We've got the comp up here. So yeah, so after the end of each game turn, after the first, the player with the most scoring units within 6 inches of the center of the board gains a counter, and if you got the most counters at the end of the game, you win 500 extra victory points.
Well, thankfully, I had won the objective by the time the game finished, and the only thing I had left on the board was Count Manfred.
That's all you need, though.
Everything else was dead.
And was it Teclis that had killed it all, or was it
no? Because he can pick his magic. What he did was, because he had 2 units of 20-odd archers as well, he picked either Enchanted Blades and Flaming Sword of Ruin. Between them, shot off everything I had from these archers. Which was just outrageous. Like he just picked a Terrorgeist and killed a Terrorgeist a turn, and there was literally nothing I could do about it.
That's the way to do it, though, isn't it? Hitting on.
It is. No, it is. It was. To be honest, he did really well by not focusing on actually killing them with Teclis, but using Teclis to buff these big units of archers to take out monsters. It was really well played. If I'd have remembered Manfred's rules regarding the magic phase, it might have been slightly different. If I'd managed to get out of combat with Teclis so I could actually Spirit Leech him, it also might have been different, because we know I love a Spirit Leech.
I'm a convert to Spirit Leech, actually.
But no, at the end of the game, I had Count Manfred left. He had a bit more left. Quite a bit more left. And I was thankful for the 500 victory points. And it finished 12-8 to the High Elves. So
you don't seem to be doing too badly in that picture, but is this mid-game, I'm assuming?
That's mid-game. Very soon after that, things just died. I don't know what else to say about it. Things just died. But it was a good game. Considering what I had left at the end of it, I was very pleased to walk away with a 12-8 loss. It was the first time I've opened an event with a loss. Which, considering me gameplay is normally worse on game 2, was a worry for where I might have finished. But as far as losses go, 12-8's a pretty solid loss in reality.
Still getting some points.
Yeah, like it's nearly a draw.
It's close enough.
It's practically a draw. Like filthy High Elves.
So did he lose much, or?
Well, obviously I'd killed his Phoenix, goes out saying. I'd killed Throwers. He definitely had, I think it's Phoenix Guard, which is where bloody Teclis was bunkered, because I just couldn't kill them. I'd killed all the chaffy things. He definitely had the Phoenix Guard and Teclis bunker left, plus then the other characters, I think. And some of the archers left, possibly both units.
So like 12-8 doesn't sound too bad, but when it's a 500-point victory plus 500 victory points, is that about 5 actual?
It's a good. It's 2 solid swings. So to be honest, without the objective, it would have been a 14-6.
Right. Yeah.
And like, to be fair, I made some errors. Things went in Sam's favour that didn't go in mine, but it was a bloody good game, and I was happy to walk away from it with a 12-8 loss. But good fun, which is the most important thing.
Well, that's a good start, morale-wise, but
morale was good. But yeah, it was a poor start for my. What did I say? Do we talk about ambitions in prep? I don't think we did. I don't think we really had any. Did we, other than to go down?
My only ambition was to put 5 Phoenixes on the board, and anything beyond that was an added bonus, really.
Yeah. But it was good. It wasn't the start I wanted, but it was 50-50 chance of that it was going to go that way when I saw my first round draw.
Fair enough.
What, your first game?
I was playing the Empire in a list that I really liked because it there it is. It's sort of, it wasn't a full light council. He did have a light council, but it wasn't the level 4, 2 level 1s and the war there. I think it was a level 4, a level 2 of light. The Hurricanum, is that the +1 power dice one? I think it was that.
Yeah.
And then you had a big block of great swords, a big block of halberdiers, some demi knights, some inner circle knights, I think, archers, 2 cannons. I think that was it. Because I was like, 2 cannons and no engineer. That's brave, but the cannons didn't apparently need an engineer at all.
No spoiler.
No.
No engineer. Ballsy son of a bitch.
Yeah, it turned out Imperial engineering has improved a lot since. But this started the.
Look at all those phoenixes, though.
Yeah,
that beautiful sight, Mark.
So the deployed side on because of the cannons. This, I had one practice game which wasn't indicative of how to play this list. It sort of relied a lot on luck.
Yes, this is when the one practice game led to the great say I miscast and going down.
That's the one, yeah. So apparently you can't rely on that happening to everyone that you play.
Well, that's nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, come on. This also started the tradition of this game of being the worst. I know I'm bad at rolling leadership tests. This is the worst I have ever rolled, ever. To the point where after this game, I bought some new dice in the shop, and that didn't help. So even I don't know what I've done. I don't know how to get these dice to roll under leadership 9.
As happens, you could pretend there were stomps because your stomp rolls were the opposite.
Oh yeah, that was horrendous. More on that. So anyway, the Phoenix is deployed in a line like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's a 5th one behind that.
Yeah, it would be off the bottom right.
Yeah, sorry, bottom left there. Bottom left, tower. Because the idea was he put his cannons. You see whether he's. That's a vampire count book there. Anyway, he's put his cannons are there. So the idea was I'll just easily fly over all this stuff, go into the cannons, turn around and go back. No, he's shot off the board. I think either turn 1 or 2. The Reavers get shot by, I think it might have been archers or something like that. Fail a panic test, they're off immediately. The Silverhelms, I thought, I don't want to go anywhere near that, really, because they can't do anything. So they just hung around in the middle, which actually saved me in the end. The Phoenixes sort of go... Let's have a look if I've got another picture of this, actually. They go in the middle, but I'm hedging, because I don't... You rapidly realise how monsters... The steadfast drill means you put a monster in with no support and no way to counter steadfast. Yeah, they'll do a lot of damage, but that unit's not going to go anywhere.
Well, and cannons is the reason you just don't see monsters particularly.
Yeah. So they're good, but their limitations are you start realizing them about 20 minutes into turn 1. I could do that, but then that monster is stuck forever, and I've only got effectively now 4 things that'll do anything. And no magic, and not really, no shooting because the Reavers have cleared off. So, what do you do? Do you expend your monsters? Or in reality, what I worked out by the end of this tournament is the thing to do is just go all aggressive, throw everything into one unit as best as you can, and hope for the best. But I hadn't worked this out at this point. So they did some bizarre charging into I'll show you the next one. One Phoenix sort of went up trying to get rid of some knights on the right flank. This Phoenix with 1 anointed on went into the great swords, and he chewed through the unit fine. But again, he's pinned there now, so the rest of them have got free reign. This other one, this is a brilliant example. This one on the left goes into the halberdiers. This guy's got crown of command, right? So I think this unit of great swords is about finished. I'll kill all of them, and I'll be able to turn around. With my turn, I'll charge in with him on the right, and he can help out this guy. So it doesn't matter if I lose combat here because he's got Crown of Command. So I lose combat, fail the leadership test, and then he rolls something like a 4, and he gets run down by a unit of Empire Halberdiers. So now you're 2 Phoenixes down, rapidly running out of things to do to fight with. So he does go into the side, like trying to continue this plan. He does kill the BSB and a mage. I think he kills the level 2. But I'm just losing Phoenixes at like a rapid rate. Oh, that's a before picture. That's him going into the great swords there. So it's not really going to plan. Even if I didn't actually have that much of a plan. So I think I'm left with about... I think I've got 2 Phoenixes left at the end, if that. Or maybe none. I can't actually remember how it ends. No, I must have had some, because luckily I had more silver helms in the middle of the board and had a advantage on tokens that you couldn't come back on. So I got the 500-point objective at the end of the game, and that made it a 10-10. So otherwise that would have been what, a 15-5, something like that. I can't work. It's 100 victory points per tournament point, isn't it? Something like that. It's somewhere on that sheet. But anyway, I think all the characters died, or nearly all of them, in a trend that will become quite common. Yeah, that was the thing. He managed to chew through all that, and then he charged into the war wagon and did no damage. There's a Phoenix against a chariot made of wood.
Oh, that is excellent.
The Phoenixes consistently bounced off everything throughout the tournament, which is another problem as you get more into how monsters work or don't, is if they bounce, you're finished. It's like they've got 4 attacks, the Phoenix standard. Yeah, they're really strong and they've got high weapon skill. They can still fluff the rolls, and there's no steadfast to rely on, and there's no volume of attacks or rerolls to rely on. So I'm looking at I've barely scraped a 10-10 by playing the objective. Remember, I have learnt something from previous tournaments.
You see, you're winning.
So yeah, that was a good game. I think he said he hadn't played in a while, the opponent, but it was a fun game, and I was rapidly learning things about my army that I should have learned through practice games, which I didn't have. Yeah, so that was a 10-10 against the Empire. But I really like.
You better start than me.
It doesn't go that. It doesn't continue on that trajectory. I really like the army. I love the war altar, and look how nice painted that is.
It was a nicely painted Empire. To be fair, there was a couple of really nicely painted armies there. That genuinely was. And that was a nice Empire army. That was nicely based. It was nicely painted. It was a nice Empire army.
It's about 50% of the way that I want my Empire army to go, except it'll be turning up the Light Council war altar Sigmar element to 11. There'll be no great swords. There'll be flagellants and
son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. For Sigmar. But anyway, that was it. That was a 10-10 start, which normally I think I win the first game, lose the second, and then probably draw on the third, so it wasn't as normal. So what was your game 2?
So game 2, I had a matchup that when I saw, I thought,
you can swear.
Yeah, I thought, oh, you mother. So it was against Wood Elves. And one thing that monsters with absolutely 0 armor save don't appreciate are lots and lots of Wood Elves that, obviously I didn't know what he had at the time, I could guarantee it was going to be one of two. They would either have lots and lots of poison, which would have been the worst case scenario, or the ever so slightly better case scenario, hitting on 3s without any mod with constantly. As it happens, he had a lot of true flight arrows hitting on 3s all of the time. So you had
nice.
several blocks of bloody Glade Guard constantly hitting on 3. So there was Adam, really good guy, really fun game. You had some Waywatchers, I think. Waywatchers, and 2 units of Wild Riders, and then 2 level 4s, 1 on Shadow, 1 on High.
Nice.
Good strong combo. And he used his High Mage with the ward save that he gets. Not the ward save, but the
wound count.
Which did play a massive part later in the game. Because not to jump too far ahead, towards late game, my Ghoul King on Terrorgeist charged the unit he was in, slaughtered about 8 wounds, but actually 6 of those wounds were just counters, and I didn't realise they don't count towards combat res, they count as saved wounds. So my Ghoul King popped, which was super upsetting and cost me a lot of victory points. So, anyway, game 2, I wasn't looking forward to it in the fact that it was just a really bad matchup for an army that's relying on Terrorgeists to do all the cool stuff, and Manfred, who can just get shot off the board. So this is the game where the person who got the most scoring units inside their opponent's deployment zone got the extra victory points, but you could ambush a unit.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm really cool. I ambushed a unit of 40 skeletons. That's right. Nothing says ambush like 40 skeletons.
When you think of tactical genius sneaking up on the enemy unawares, you always think of skeletons and in big numbers.
It was exactly that. So it was sort of a slight unusual deployment. So I put myself in there, hid as best I could behind buildings and hills, and prepared to try to get across the board and minimise the amount of damage I took whilst doing so. Was the ultimate aim. So Adam was set up in to welcome, essentially to draw us in as you would with what else, and then counter punch with some Wild Riders and whatnot. Tone of this game really was that hitting on 3s is a pain in the arse for me, not so for him. However, my Terrorgeists were absolute tanks.
That 1 on 6s, that's the issue.
The 1 on 6s, yeah, to be honest, this matchup would have been a lot worse for me if he'd gone Hagbane instead of True Fight. Much, much, much worse. Because at one point, one Terrorgeist took, I think it was about 38 shots. He was on 1 wound and he lived.
That reminds me of the Ogre special character from the...
Well, yes, indeed. So, it was a very swingy match, very, very close. At one point, I thought this is going really well. Then his shooting got better, and I thought, oh my god, this is going really badly. The biggest takeaway from this game is that if you're a unit of Wild Riders and you think you're good in combat and you think you want to go up against zombies, you're wrong. Because my block of zombies in this game killed to a man 1 unit of Wild Riders, killed the other 1 unit of zombies, killed the other unit... I didn't kill a man, that's a lie. I killed a couple, brought them in combat, but I also then chased them down. I then beat the 2nd unit of Wild Riders in combat with the same unit of zombies, and I missed chasing them down by 2 inches. Manfred lived, because the guy's a legend. I did Spirit Leech something. Can't remember what it was, but I enjoyed doing it. I lost a lot through shooting. And like I say, the big one that cost us several, a major win was losing the Ghoul King to that. The Wood Elf high magic tokens, which I just hadn't realised didn't count towards combat res, which was heartbreaking, to be honest. However, I did. Would you believe when it came to getting scoring units inside deployments, I actually won that with VC. I had a unit of zombies that was scoring in deployment. I had me ambushing skeletons in the deployment zone, and because my zombies are Wild Rider slayers, He had nothing in my deployment zone. So even with the really big loss of the Ghoul King and the fact that by the end of the game, I think there was one Terrorgeist left alive. Manfred, because the guy's a legend. I took the second game with a 13-7 win, which, to be honest, I was over the moon with, because looking at the two matchups, I thought it was going to be a fairly guaranteed loss with this list versus a lot of Wood Elf shooting. So I was very, very pleased with a 13-7 win.
I say, if you're taking, I mean, I don't play Wood Elves, so I don't know, but if you're going to take high magic, I would take the poison one, because you've got potentially Hand of Glory to get your BS up.
Yeah, it's probably like a fair shout, to be honest. Which he used a lot on his Way Watchers, so they were constantly hitting us on 2s, which is a treat. But they still had to wound on 6s.
Yeah,
I didn't hit a lot,
but you're skipping
a lot of 6s.
Oh, you didn't? I suppose it depends on rolling a 6. It's just to get through that, having to roll a 6 to wound, which is difficult.
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose technically you're hitting so often, it's not that much more than rolling 6s to hit for poison.
I'm not a Wood Elf player, so I don't know.
Poison is still better to a point. But no, it was a really good game. Like I said, I came away with a 13-7 win. Very pleased. I was not expecting it when I looked at the matchups with a Wood Elf. The amount of shooting and magic he had, I thought, oh, this is going to go badly.
Well, that's.
But I was very pleased. Very, very pleased.
So you got away with that, I think.
I absolutely did. Great guy, though. First time I've ever played Adam at an event, and I had a really good game. Genuinely was probably my game of the event. I was very, very swingy. Like at various points during the game, we were both on top. Big calls from both ways, big plays, but a really good, intense game. I had a lot of fun.
Very good. Well, my game 2 was against Lizardmen, fighting Toby, actually. This was a fun game, because he drew against me like, oh no, like, you haven't seen how I've been rolling. Don't worry about this. There's my pile of new dice that I bought on the bottom right-hand side there. So this was the ambush. You get your people into the other end of the deployment zone one. So he had double slan, so maximum points there. Kind of beat a double slan. So there's this
Life and Death, old-fashioned 7th edition combo.
No, he had Life and Light, which I thought was very interesting. So there's from left to right. There's some skinks on the extreme left. I think there are 2 salamanders there. Some more skinks. Then that's a block of Saurus with the light slan. Then there's an Engine of the Gods stag, and then there's a Temple Guard unit with the life slan in. Then
the 2 there immediately, because he's blunkered in Saurus, he's in the front rank.
Yes, he is.
That is not. I don't know how this goes. I can't imagine that goes particularly well for the slan.
You're forgetting how I'm rolling, but and then there's some more salamanders on the opposite side there. This, you'll notice a slight change in my deployment, where I've just thought, fuck it, put them all at the front and go for it. So there's the 1, 2, 3. There's 4 phoenixes. No, there's 5 phoenixes there, because there's one underneath the one on the left. So they're all there. There's the Reavers on the right hand side, and then there's the what they're called, Silverhelms. So my plan here is try to take out some of the chaff with my chaff, and then put all of these in one of them units. Doesn't matter which. So what's the next photo? I think for turn 1 I just move up as far as I can. I think I try to charge the salamanders. Something happens with the salamanders where they kill 2 Reavers, I think, and then I fail the leadership test and they go off the board, as is standard. Common occurrence there. So this should be next picture. Yeah. So the phoenixes all move up. I've decided to go for the one with the normal Saurus because they won't be stubborn in the event that I kill enough of them to stop them being steadfast. Whereas Temple Guard are always stubborn, aren't they? With a slan in.
They are with a slan. Yeah, they become unbreakable with Croak, stubborn
Yeah.
with slan, but they don't confer that to Saurus. Although that has a big ass block of Saurus, to be fair.
It is quite a lot. So they move up, and then I think from there I charge everything, and I think 4 of them make it in. 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
So that was pretty good. But he plays this really well because he's light slan, casts speed of light and the other one, so it removes ASF and their weapon skill 10 and initiative 10. So these are all hitting on 4s now and not re-rolling the anointeds. So it takes them I think it's about 2 rounds before I can direct enough attacks on the slant to kill it and stop that cast. And then the life slant's casting the toughness spell, Flesh to Stone. So he does really well to like that's. I'm thinking, yeah, this is brilliant. And actually, no, because I've got no magic defense at all, which is another critical flaw in this list.
I'm sure when we come to the summary of how you enjoyed it or did not, that might play a part.
Yeah, so he's just casting whatever he wants with a slan. So yeah, they're good, really good spellcasters. So he's getting in the turn they charge, or the turn might even be the turn before, like because it's obvious what's going to come next. He's got all these buffs off, which mean I'm not killing as many as I should be. They don't lose combat, fortunately, and this is why I start rolling like 1 for me thunderstomps and stuff like that. So that was unpleasant. Karagian runs off at some point, I think.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he fails the leadership test, leadership 9. So I'm just trying to chew through that unit. Eventually it does pop, and I kill it all. And then I charge into the Engine of the Gods. Because at this point I'm thinking, I cannot get through that Temple Guard unit. It's a write-off. But because of the way it's ended up and the way it's pointing and the way the Engine of the Gods is interacting with this building here, there's no way for that to charge into this combat and help them out. So like that's a lost cause. I can kill everything else, but I'll have to leave that alone. And eventually that's what happens. So the Engine of the Gods, again, I think is that 4 phoenixes into it? Doesn't kill it. Another bounce problem with the phoenixes.
Bloody hell.
They
maybe 3s, 1 on 4s.
No, because he kept casting. I think he kept casting Flesh to Stone on it. So, which I couldn't stop. I think I get these skinks. I think flee, and Karagian makes some sort of double 6 thing to catch them. The Ripidactyls are the heroes of the game. They come in ambush and they start chewing up the. I think they kill the Reavers and then they kill these the frogs on them silver helms there. So they kill them. They manage to get into their target. Anyway, by the end of it, I win 16-4, I think it was. But the Slan General with the Temple Guard, they're all still alive. So that's quite an expensive unit that's left.
Yeah, but to be fair, then that's a draw and then a solid win after 2 games. Was it going okay?
Yeah. Thanks for that. Doesn't more to come. More to follow. But yeah, it's again, it's just like if your monsters bounce, if you can get a good spell off to counter one or other, like high weapon skill, high strength, because you haven't got the volume of attacks, it's that much more devastating to a monster strong list. Because really, what I was hoping was turn 1 or when I charged, obliterate everything, massive thunderstomps, kill it all in one go, which didn't happen because he played well with the magic as well. But you think thunderstomp would like 4d6 thunderstomps? I don't.
Yeah, you'd think that would do it.
Yeah, but it just wasn't. I think I had to kill them to a man. I don't think they broke. And then it was just like, yeah, well, I'll just have to make a wall with this. It actually worked out better for me that combat didn't go anywhere with the Ancient Stag, because it meant the other unit couldn't get involved, and they were just to one side, and there wasn't enough game time left for them to come around the house and charge into the back.
And did anybody get the objective? Did you get the objective?
I got the objective. Yeah, because I had more stuff in. He didn't have anything in my deployment zone, but I had phoenixes and all sorts in there. So it was an improvement, slight improvement. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. Some crazy stuff happened again. More failing of leadership tests. I think a skink killed 2 silver helms on the far side of it, on the extreme right side. They immediately failed their leadership test and ran off the board. And that was like turn 1, I think. And
you're like, yep, that's how it's going to go.
So we burst out laughing, and I was just stunned. And it's going to keep doing it then. Right, brilliant.
You need to start playing an army that doesn't need to take LD tests.
Well, what's that one? Well, demons. I've got a demon.
They don't take the test. You keep failing though.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not playing dwarfs. I know they've high leadership. I just refuse.
No, I didn't see you had to lower yourself to that standard.
But yeah, that was the first time where, because I didn't really think about it, I just thought I'll charge everything in and hope for the best, and that apparently is the way to do it.
Yeah.
So where is that one? So I'm just trying to load up your next game.
So my game 3 was against. That's the one. Was against Dwarfs.
Speaking of Dwarfs.
Speaking of the Dowie, we all know real dwarfs worship a shoot and use magic.
True. These are the dwarfs that betrayed their.
These are the dwarfs that betrayed their kin and abandoned them, and indeed, forcing them to turn the light of his shoot. Anyway, propaganda aside, I was up against a dwarf list, which again I looked at on paper and thought, I don't believe it. Like, I had high elves turn 1 that had a lot of shooting with hecklers. I had wood elves with like the world supply of shooting game 2. I then get a dwarf list. I was like, oh, mother of God! Like, we poor terrorgeists. Like, just stop it. Leave them alone. So I was playing Alex in this game, and I will, before I begin to tell you how it went, be like very open. One, Alex was a lovely guy. We had it was a nice game. However, Alex had never played Terrorgeists before.
Ah, right.
Had never encountered what a Death Shriek does, and that you don't have any armor save against it.
I assume that's going to become relevant quite quickly.
Yeah, and like you had a massive block, as you can see the picture there. You had a bolt thrower on the left, I think it was there on the right, left of screen, an enormous unit of hammerers that I looked at and went, what on God's green earth am I going to do to that? Then a organ gun, a unit of thunderers, I think it was, then a flame cannon, and then a block of longbeards or something like that, I think. Then a flame cannon, and then more thunderers. So we had one of each war machine bar and a grudge thrower. So we didn't have double cannon, double organ gun, nothing like that. To be fair, it was quite a. He had a combat dwarf lord as well on shield bearers. Was
that the unkillable one, or just a?
Well, you know what makes an unkillable dwarf lord killable? Death Shriek. Because he doesn't have a ward save.
Oh dear.
He also doesn't appreciate doom and darkness. No,
you're a monster.
Yeah, I think so. Start off, I vanguarded me hex race forward. That's the one. I've vanguarded me dogs forward, and then I just proceed to commence. He starts naturally. He out deploys me, kills all of me dogs. Unfortunately, he does not kill all of my hex wraiths, and I have a solo hex wraith left. Oh yes, please put that next one on. No, actually not quite yet. Sorry, so I have one solo hex wraith left by the end of all these shooting. Comes to my turn, and because you can start quite far up the board compared to normal on this scenario, that you're only 16 inches apart.
Should we just say what the scenario was?
Yeah, King of the Hill, you had to capture some scenery. So this hill with the in the middle right of the screen is the hill I had to capture. So as you can imagine, I plonked two massive blocks of zombies on there, then sat them there for the entire game and captured it. So I won the objective. I then proceeded to fly everything up and proceeded to essentially scream off everything on the board.
That looks horrific.
Yeah, and to be fair, that picture really sums up what happened. Alex was a lovely guy. We had a genuinely fun game.
Well, that's what he told you, isn't it?
Yeah, he told us that. And, when someone's never played against Terrorgeists before and you tell them what to do and they look at you like you're an idiot, and then they have to clarify, so there's no save. And I think, no, I'm sorry. And it was like, one, things couldn't have went better for me. Like, he hit with a cannon, wounded a Terrorgeist, or he either rolled a wound or he only did 1 or 2 wounds. And it was like, I'm just going to heal that up next turn. That's no hassle at all. Like, I flew straight up, screamed off, screamed the flame cannon, I think, off the board, and the hell and the cannon in turn 1. I think I panicked off a unit of Thunderers, killed the other unit of Thunderers. Like, as you can see, like, to be honest, nothing went Alex's way at all. We one solo Hector that was left alive then charged into his organ gun, and eventually proceeded to just kill his organ gun in combat because obviously there's no armor save and he can't do anything to it. Yeah, it was not a good game for Alex. It was a very fun game, but it was not a very pleasant game for the Dwarfs, to be honest. Like, everything that could have went well for me very much did. I also took the objective. I killed pretty much everything, barring some hammers by the end of the game. And it was a resounding 20-0 victory to the Vampires. It was like very good game from a competitive sense, but it was brutal. And when someone's never played against Terrorgeists or Deathshrieks before, and then I rock up with 4 of them, and a
like, you learn quick there, then, won't you?
You learn quick, and by this point I actually remembered Manfred's rules. And I think I spirit leached off the Runesmith or the BSB or something like that. I definitely spirit leached off something because that's how I roll. And I think I purple sun through his hammers as well. And took off about 24 of them in one turn.
So you weren't playing to make friends on this, then?
I'm always I'm a delight to play.
You do this to people, and people still vote. If you got like people's families held hostage somewhere, they still vote for you for being like most sporting.
But because I'm a nice guy, the thing is, I've been on the end of some horrendous 20-0 losses as well, and so you've just got to. It happens to everybody, and you can still play with a smile, though, can't you? Likewise, it shouldn't.
When you're saying, I'll tell you what, fella, you just read the rules for Deathshriek there. Meanwhile, I'll just send this purple sun through your initiative 1 peoples, and we'll come back when you've read that paragraph. Meanwhile, just fill in that slip for most sporting.
Yeah, if you don't vote me, I'm not releasing your family. That's exactly how it goes. But no, it meant I finished game. It did day 1 on a high with a 20-0 win against Dwarfs, and I'd played all 3 lists that were on paper quite nasty matchups, and got away with a small loss, a reasonable win, and then a resounding win.
Yeah, so you got over the ones you were concerned about.
Yeah, to a point.
Well,
yes, that went well for me. To be fair.
Well, my game 3 to end day 1 was against Stan, who, if we'd have messaged him earlier, might have been on this. But never mind.
I mean, he appreciates that he's still. It was all a ploy, and he doesn't really like, use Discord.
He says that he's on MySpace, I think.
He's there playing. He's there just making sure his MySpace continues to look amazing.
Oh, what was that other one? Friends Reunited. He's on that one. Anyway, so Stan has a lot of goblins, as you can see.
Now, is it fair to say on our drive from the northeast down to Cardiff, you and I were chatting about this list, and we both said like neither one of us want to play Stan.
No, this was not an ideal matchup.
Of fanatics and manclans, like his list was awesome. As we said in the pre-recording, it's a shame we couldn't attend that or this one. His list is amazing. It's just night goblins, all night goblins, a couple of squid goblins and squigs.
Yeah, squid goblins are horrific if you know the rules, and they're stubborn. I think. Unbreakable. Sorry, they're unbreakable. So, you know, if you I don't know if anyone else gets this, but if you're sometimes in a tournament and you just like, you haven't lost interest, but you just feel despair at the start of the. I got it when I played. Oh, what's he called? Alan's. He's going to kill us. That I've forgotten his name. James, Alan's friend.
Oh yes,
yeah,
with his or gunline.
Yeah, and I got this when I played him at Triple Crown. And you just come up against something, and you're so like in your head that you can't think your way around it, and you just give up, almost give up. And I'm not saying that I just gave up and let Stan win, but but
crap.
You cannot think of anything, and even the most obvious plays after, like, why didn't you do that? Like, I literally didn't think of it.
Yeah,
and that sort of got me with this because it was before Triple Crown, it was I don't want to play James's list, and I ended up playing it. And before this, like, I don't want to play Stan's list, and I ended up playing it. So if he's not here, but if I was in a miserable mood or a bad opponent, I apologise for that. But anyway, he lined up like that.
I apologise.
I lined up like this. Basically, the Phoenixes try to kill the Squid Goblins because they're doing a lot of damage. Again, they just bounce off them. The Doom Divers chip off wounds. I want to avoid. There's a massive group of the. He's Squid.
How many Doom Divers?
Sorry, no, Pump Wagons. Sorry, the Pump Wagons in my mistake. Yeah. They come round. They hit a Phoenix in the side. I think that's like tied up there. Does chip some wounds off. All the chaff dies. The Squig herd doesn't really do anything, but like it stops me going in that direction because basically there's nowhere I can go without getting hit, a charge, or bogged down in a big clump of goblins, or shot to pieces, or charged with random movements, pump wagons, or anything. And they go into that block by the Squid Gobbers, but there's they cannot really do much. So it's just chaos at the end. Like that's what happens. So that Phoenix is hitting the side. That Phoenix has gone into, I think that's a pump wagon. That again, I think it just bounces off that. It takes me ages to kill one of these Squid Gobbers.
They're toughness 6 or something.
Yeah, and unbreakable. So you've got to kill them in one go, or
they're not be sniffed at in combat either.
No, they're not bad. You can't thunderstomp them, obviously. You see the fanatics are everywhere. They go all everywhere. I think I lose all of the chaff units and the what they called. Why can't I remember silver helms? I mean, it's my army. That rooftop terrace there is where all the dead fanatics are hanging out. So yeah, he just like outplays the list, ties them all down, charges into them, strips the wounds off, kills all the characters, kills the Phoenixes. I think I had no Phoenixes left at the end, and it was a 19-1 loss. And he because again magic, the magic's it's not. I want to say devastating, but because you can't stop it, or you can only stop one spell if you're lucky. It all stacks up, and Skarsnik's got that. Is it 2d6 or d6 strength 4 or 5?
I want to say 2, but it's a nasty zap.
Yeah, it is. It's a nasty spell, and it's bound. I think it's like bound 5 or something. It's a cheap spell to cast, and that's just constantly putting on the pressure, chipping off wounds. They can't hold in combat. You've got a massive advantage in combat resolution. He's leadership 8, I think.
Maybe he's, yeah.
I think he is. So he's dishing out quite a reasonably high level of leadership, even if they did lose the combats, which they're not. And I think he does kill everything. I didn't have much left at the end of this. And what was the objective? Oh, it was capture the terrain there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know what the result of that was. I'm assuming he got it, unless that combat lasted till the end and it was a tie on that. Because 19-1, I must have got a point somewhere.
I thought it was 17-3.
Oh, maybe it was 17-3. Oh, have I spoiled the next one? No, I haven't. This was 19-1. You've spoiled the next battle.
I mean, I don't want to upset you, but it was 17-3 because I'm looking at the scoring.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm logged into Tourney Keeper, which was a really good app that Chris used for the event, and it was 17-3.
Oh, have I got?
You submitted scores and you've robbed Stan of 2 points.
Have I got it the wrong way around?
Yes, you've spoiled the next game.
Oh, right, okay. Ignore all this, listeners. This is what you get for not preparing.
It's what we get for waiting so long after the event to unfortunately record our thoughts on it.
Right. I might edit this out, I might not. Yeah, so it was a 17-3, as I was saying before. Yeah, it was. Now that I remember it, and you've confirmed it with the actual data.
I've got your back.
Thanks for that. I knew we were a good team. Anyway, yeah, because I killed a couple of pump wagons, I think, at least one squid gobber, and the fanatics, which aren't really worth much. So yeah, it was 17-3, as I was saying earlier. But that put me in not a bad mood, but like not despair, but on the edge of it, because it's like I had a real crisis of confidence in the list at this point.
It was a bad way to finish game 1 for you, wasn't it? Day 1 for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't ideal, but
like finishing the day on a heavy loss is never good.
No. And we'll talk about it after the summaries, but there's other reasons why this feeling of like, no, this isn't great, came about. But anyway, after day 1, we went into Cardiff and experienced.
Place is savage.
It is savage.
Monsters. If anyone listening to this is from Cardiff, he was savage people.
We do have to go back to Cardiff next year, so
they'll still be savage. They know they're probably okay with it.
I'm sure they'll be fine.
Welcoming savages, but savages nonetheless. But no, we did go out. Cardiff on it even was a good laugh.
It was, yes.
Found a really good burger place.
And we went to the castle. That was just really nice.
Yeah, we had a walk on the castle. It was lovely, and we spent we were in Tiny Rebels bar. If anyone doesn't know, that's a really nice brewery in Wales. Do check it out. It's lovely. Other breweries are available.
Oh, you're sounding like Steve from Mountain Miniature Gaming there. I mean,
other YouTubes are available, but no, it was good night. And then we went into day 2.
And who were you playing on day 2?
I started day 2 playing Beef and his Skaven,
which should appear now.
So this scenario was the attacker defender scenario, where you had offset deployment zones. So the attacker could deploy further on the flanks. The defender could deploy further in the centre.
Oh, this was like it was a U shape for the defender, wasn't it? Or
yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, an inverted U for the defender and a U for the attacker type thing. And before the game, you had to nominate 3 scoring units, and if you killed those 3 scoring units, you got the 500 victory points. And Beef had 3 units of 20 clan rats, and then a massive horde of storm vermin with the screaming bell in it. So unsurprisingly, the 3 units I had to kill to get the victory points were 3 blocks of 20 clan rats. Or slaves, or like whatever they were. 3 blocks of rats that were only 20 big. So he set up there. I was sort of backed on the left with the block of skellies and the block of zombies you can see bottom left. They are 2 of the score units he had to kill. The other one was the one on the right hand side, which is there was a lot less threat over there. I vanguarded up my dogs on this photo. I've vanguarded up the hex wraiths for some shenanigans, and a couple of the terror guys are hiding behind a hill. One's hiding behind a building. So he had 2 warp lightning cannons. He had a doom wheel, a hell pit. So a lot of plague sensor, plague mortars, the little ones that attached to the weapons team one.
Oh yeah, the poison wind mortars.
That's the ones, yeah. And then you can see level 4 Grace Seer. It was good list. I managed to hide. So I managed to deploy so that each warp lightning cannon could only see one of me hex rate, one of me terrorgeists, or you could see the hex wraith for one of them. And I think Beef went first. And proceeded to get really aggressive. Like, he just marched that unit of horde of storm vermin in the bell like straight at us. I might have even went first, but on his first turn, that's what happened, and it was like, oh my god! Like, I'm once again not 100% sure what I'm going to do about that horde.
Because you can afford to be aggressive with an unbreakable horde of storm vermin.
Yeah, and to be honest, again, this list isn't designed to be able to kill hordes unless I get good with magic, but they do have magic res because of the bell. So at one point I did Spirit Leech the Greysayer, did about 5 wounds, and then he's got a 4 at ward and MR2. So he just saved all. So yeah, he had like a
span of the World Dragon Rat then.
He had 2 at ward against Spirit Leech. So I was like, oh, that's hugely upsetting, because instead of killing him with the Spirit Leech, I did no wounds. I wonder why I let it through. I was like, Spirit Leech. He's like, yeah. And just shrugged at us like, okay. But as it happens, I think it was then it went so that he came across. I threw, I think, Hex Wraiths, flew over his Hell Pit. Did 4 wounds to it, which was a great start, and then it also couldn't come back. So it had taken some fiery.
They're flaming, aren't they? The Hex Wraiths.
Yeah. But it meant obviously the Hexers then opened to the Doom Wheel, whether it was shooting or charge for its shooting attack, which could have been nasty. But as it happened, that my left flank with you can see the 2 terror guys on behind that hill. By the end of turn 2, it really proceed to have its way with that left flank of the Skaven. I quite quickly kill the Hell Pit, the Doom Wheel, the unit of Jezzails, and the Warp Lightning Cannon that flank, and then I've got just dominance up that left side. And up the right side, I've Vanguard and dogs. He doesn't manage to shoot off in turn 1, and then make a turn 2, or my turn 1, possibly even charge of about 17-inch charge, a massive charge into his Warp Lightning Cannon, and proceed to kill that. Right. So very game
early.
I'd eliminated both cannons, the Doom Wheel, the Hell Pit. So the only big threat left to us was that massive horde of storm vermin and the Grey Seer. At one point, obviously, I was quite happily dancing around these buildings and hiding behind it to avoid this big unit of storm vermin. I think it was his turn 3. Things like shit goes down, and he rings the bell, rolls whatever it is it rolls, and it casts Crack's Call in an 18-inch bubble, which is just outrageous. And what it does, it destroys the building within 18 inches, essentially. So all of the buildings I was hiding behind just disappear, and I'm like, oh, bollocks. This could get nasty, because now the Grey Seer has got line of sight for all of these like spells.
Oh yeah, 360 line of sight.
Yeah, exactly. And the Poison Wind mortars that just always do a wound on a 5 or a 4, depending how it's you're under the template, can see what they're shooting at. So they're not going to scatter off, which does play a part. However, in this turn, what also happens is the Grey Seer miscasts, blows up with a big template, and then proceeds to get sucked into the warp.
See, it's always guaranteed. That's how you play Grey Seers.
And I was the happiest man alive, because at that point, there was essentially, other than chipping off wounds with Poison Wind mortars, which you did do, essentially, like, my Terrorgeists could have their wicked way by flying around the board and screaming off unit after unit after unit collectively. So I did get the objective, and I did kill almost everything, barring that unit of Storm Vermin. They were still left at the end of the game, and it was a 19-1 win to the VC. He killed I think the Terrorgeist with the Ghoul King on it, and the Ghoul King, I think, and a unit of zombies. And I think I'd tabled the rest, barring the Storm Vermin. Really good game against Beef. Again, like, he's a stand-up chap. Plays the game the right way as well. Like, we both just wanted to have a good time, and it was very much played like, this is the intention. I want to be this distance away. We've got movement to do it. We didn't mess around like measuring to the 9th degree or anything like that. It was really played well in a good spirit. Like, he had a huge laugh when his Grey Seer went down. He's like, "Oh well, that's the end of the game." And I was like, "Oh, that's not gone well." I was like, "No, it hasn't." But like, we had a good laugh, and the mass cast Crack's Call. He giggled when he let Spirit Leech through, and I then realised why he let through. Laughed at us, especially for how much I love Spirit Leech. But yeah, it was a really, really good game once again, but a very good game from a competitive sense, and an outcome for the VC. Like, a 19-1 was a really strong win. Again, against the list that I looked at and went, oh, that's going to cause us some serious problems.
So yeah, good to get rid of the cannons early on.
Game changer. It just lets us have free reign.
Although it's rare that the opponent kills the cannons for Skaven. Usually they just.
To be fair, actually, I didn't have to kill one of the cannons. He blew up in turn 1. That's true. Yeah, on that left flank that I then dominated, he blew his cannon up on turn 1, which was a delight.
Well, my first game of day 2 was against the Ogres, and you, if you've paid attention, you may know how this ends. No, I'm not editing that out now because that joke won't make any sense. Anyway, so he's got the what's it called? The Iron Gut bus with the general, and he's got a Slaughtermaster. He's got one on Heavens as well. I think he's got level 2 on Heavens in the Ogre block there, and these are the Iron Guts with the Great Maw and the general, and then some Mournfang, the chariot with a cannon on. He's got that big, I don't even know what that is. It's the big thing with the harpoon on it. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, the Thunder Tusk.
That's it. And he's got some man eaters as well, which I always think man eaters are quite cool. So I deploy mostly on my right hand side. The phoenixes are like in that U shape. So they go up first turn. There's a unit of lead belchers. They're at the top of that picture now. They're a bit further forward at the start. So I charge a phoenix into them, beat them in combat. They run away. The phoenix runs from like a 4 to run them down. So doesn't manage to do that. That was the first error.
Strong.
Yeah, brilliant. They rally, then the phoenix goes back into them and then chases them off. So that takes longer than I hoped it would. The phoenixes start sort of coming to the side, and then I don't know, I just, again, I just sort of lost me. I just couldn't think. I lost all sort of ideas and stuff. He was saying at the end of the game, I think it's probably about this point, there was a time where I could have thrown 3 phoenixes into that block of ogres by the house, and they would just chewed straight through them. And I just missed it.
That was the game plan before this match.
Yeah, it was. So his level 2 on Heavens was really good with not Chain Lightning, Thunderbolt, because it's got a massive range and it's strength 6. So that was, I think, it killed.
You then get the cheeky little extra hits against flying.
Yeah,
flying
they're good as well. And
I know it's only 6 is the wound, but it chips off wounds, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it kills Caradrian. In fact, turn 1 or 2, so he's dead straight away. And then it's chipping wounds off the Phoenix. So the Phoenixes are all pretty beat up by turn 3. The Reavers get charged by they get burnt to death by he's got a fire belly as well. So they get flamed by them. They run off. The Silver Helms have a duel with the Man-Eaters. They lose that, because why wouldn't they? This... yeah. This... I think, that Phoenix gets... I'll show you the next picture. Phoenix gets charged by the Mournfang, kills 1, but then the other Phoenix gets charged by the Gut Bus and the Chariot. The Phoenix fails to kill a Chariot fails to kill and break the Chariot, which exposes
you see a Chariot, but it's not like
it's not a Chariot. Yeah, it's a cannon, but yeah, it's got but still, which lets it get charged by the Gut Bus there. So that Phoenix is finished. Where are we next? I'll just show you. This is the most. So this is going very badly, and as spoilers, I lost it 19-1. But the way I get the point is this anointed here suicide charges this unit from like a 10 or an 11-inch charge. He makes the charge. He does. I think he wins by 1 point. They fail twice, and he runs them down and kills them all, and then.
Is it finally something's come really good?
Yeah, and in the other combat, he pushes these general to the front, and where is it? I don't know. I haven't got it pictured. Anyway, the other combat, he pushes these general to the front. So I just thought the Phoenix is dead anyway. So I target everything at the general and kill him. I'm like, oh, that's good. So that's the two positives that come out of it. That hero suicide charge, mowing him down, and then I kill the general. But it's not enough.
And obviously, I assume Thomas got the objective
yes,
as well.
Yes, he got the objective. So it was a crushing 19-1 defeat.
Console yourself that without the objective, you would have only lost 17-3.
Oh, thanks for that. But yeah,
that kind of explain why people vote for us as good opponent.
I wouldn't. But
no, because you're not a nice person.
I've won 1 most sporting award, so learn from that. But again, because he's so magically dominant, he was able to get off Thunderbolt turn after turn after turn, get off his regen turn after turn, +1 strength, +1 toughness, isn't it, for a Toothcracker, +1 strength.
Yeah.
So all of these buff spells that make your strength 6 monster less effective, he was able to get them off. And like you said at the end, look, there was that bit where obviously you don't tell someone in the middle of a tournament game, you don't want to charge this unit. But you said, I said, I just didn't see it.
Yeah, that happens. Like whilst you're playing, you miss opportunities. It's a game. It is what it is.
But I enjoyed the game. It's just the more you play this list, like you're taking a meme list for a laugh, and then you haven't thought through the realities of what it's going to be like to play it.
Is it safe to say that you found that quite frustrating?
Well, I'll talk about that at the end, but pretty much yes. So I opened day 2 with a crushing loss, but I don't know. It was good. It just like I felt in the middle of the game. Like I know what I wanted to do at the start. You got to kill the rain stuff. So you go up for the lead belches and come round. And then at the mid game, I just felt like they're just all in the middle. I haven't got any ideas. I'm getting charged. I can't dictate the terms of what's happening. And then at the end, it was like, well, I'll just shove him in. Oh, that worked. Like, why weren't you doing these charges at turn 2 or 3? Why have you come up with this at like turn 5 or 6?
Yeah.
So I was just like annoyed with myself, really. But that's the way the game goes, I suppose.
It's that impotent anger when you know you've made some errors and there's nothing when you can do anything about it.
Yeah, and it's too late to go back, and you can't really recover. But so yeah, that was it for the start of day 2. Not a good way to start. So we'll skip over that one. Sorry, Thomas, for skipping straight over your bit, but you beat me. You beat me fine. Next, move on. We get it.
Yeah.
That was the worst. More spoilers. That was the worst I got beat all tournament. So I wasn't 20-0, but
no,
near enough.
Like me one.
So your last game.
My final game. I finished the event how I started the event, and by that I mean I had another high elf techless list.
Techless sandwich.
Oh yeah, my weekend was a techless sandwich. So I deployed. It was a bit like, is it meeting engagement, like diagonal?
Yeah.
And again, there was 2 markers that you had to get a scoring unit on top of to secure the target, and if you did, you got victory points. Like spoiler alert, I get the objective, so it means I actually won the objective. I got the objective in all 5 of the games, which did have an outcome. So I deployed sort of quite spread to get, but mainly in my right corner and the far left side of the game, the table, so absolutely 0 gameplay. John, who I've played, I think both times I've been to Cardiff now. He castled in the corner with Techless. He's a couple of bolt throwers, a big unit of Sea Guard, unit of Bowman, a big block of White Lions, which had the Banner of the World Dragon in them. Techless in a bunker and Techless in that unit of White Lions.
You have Corhill as well.
You had Corhill, you had Caradri. He had Corhill. I think he had Caradrian as well.
I think Caradrian, yeah.
But because they buff the opposite unit better, Corhill was in the Phoenix Guard and Caradrian was in the White Lions.
Makes sense. Swap duties for the day.
Filthy Elves, honestly. So, and then again, Techless could pick whatever bloody spells he wanted. So once again, it was, obviously by this point I actually know what the hell's going on with Manfred, and I've remembered my rules like on multiple occasions. Like, I'm not an absolute moron. So I get up, like I get quite aggressive on my right flank with one of the Terrorgeists, the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, and the Hex Wraiths. Manfred spends the game essentially hiding on that picture there. You can see there's a building just poking in the bottom right hand corner.
Oh, yeah.
Manfred spends most of the game hiding behind that building so he can't get shot.
Makes sense.
Whilst spirit leeching. And all that, like, buffs and shenanigans.
Direct damage, can't beat it.
Yeah. Like, things get shot off. And the other target flies up the left flank. I park a unit of zombies on one of the objectives and leave them there the whole game. The other block ends up going into combat into the flank of the. So he charges. I think he charges me, or he has to come forward, and the Phoenix Guard anyway end up in combat with the Ghoul King on the Terrorgeist. He then proceeds to feed the unit champion to the Ghoul King, who obviously slaughters him, and I win on combat res. But he's steadfast. He then feeds his Corhill, who the Ghoul King obviously also slaughters, but he's steadfast. And then the unit of zombies plows into the side of the Phoenix Guard, and I annihilate the Phoenix Guard.
What?
Which, I'm not gonna lie, just feels good on a personal level. And at that point, that unit of zombies then goes and holds the second objective, whilst I then try to get me Ghoul King up the side. But meanwhile, Teclis has killed the Terrorgeist on my left flank. The other Terrorgeist's taken off the bolt throwers and the archer. No, not the archers. The bolt throwers. Teclis then kills him with magic. So I shooting the Ghoul King on his Terrorgeist, so then flops up, doesn't die, and then eventually goes to hide behind the house. I do get a combo charge of two zombies into the White Lions, and he has Doom and Darkness on him. And I'm like, yes. Sweet, sweet glory. However, he then rolls double one for his panic test, and they stick. I then don't get Doom and Darkness off again, and the White Lions then proceed to absolutely slap the living crap out of my zombie unit at the front, and then turn around and proceed to start slapping the skeletons. But they don't get it done before the end of the game. By the end of the game, Teclis is miscast. Doesn't kill himself, I don't believe. No, he's alive. Oh, no, he doesn't kill himself, but he's a level 0 wizard. He miscasts 3 times. He miscasts 3 times in 5 turns. Turn 1, miscasts, cracks the staff. Turn 2, or whatever, the second miscast loses 1 spell. I was like, bloody hell, like, he's just... Even when he's miscasting, I can't kill this son of a bitch. And he miscasts again and drops to a level 0 wizard. And at that point, I'm like, magical dominance. That's what Manfred likes.
You can't cast if you're level 0, can you?
No, you've lost all your spells.
Yeah. Well, he's got 8 though, hasn't he? So
at that point, I was like, yeah, this is a delight. It's game on. And I could then come out, get a little bit more aggressive, but at the same time, things were on low wounds, and I didn't want to get shot because there was still Seaguard and some bowmen there. And because Teclis' unit was locked in combat with the skeletons, it meant I couldn't Spirit Leech him off either for the points. And he was also in Man of the World Dragon. But I did get both objectives, and I finished that with a 16-4 win. I think 16-4. 14-6 win. Sorry, a 14-6 win. So good, solid win again on a challenging matchup, especially after having got beaten off Teclis in game 1. And it meant although I'd lost game 1, I then went and won the next 4 games. So it went really well in that regard.
Win and again, after win.
Played John a couple of times. Always a good game. Plays again the right spirit. Good guy, with the exception of the fact that he plays high elves. But like you people are disgusting who play high elves.
Yeah, but apparently John can make leadership tests. So.
Well, he did this. He didn't the first time we played. The last time we played, he failed the leadership test with his big block of Phoenix Guard, and I chased him down and caught him, which was a treat. I was a terror test. Actually, he failed. Oh no, couldn't drink the course. Anyway, it was a 14-6 win, and a really good end of the tournament for me.
Well, I also fought High Elves at the end of the tournament.
Oh yes.
So this was it was block of Phoenix Guard with Alariel in, unit of Silver Helms, unit of Spearmen, a Phoenix. I think it was 2 Bolt Throwers, and some Reavers. I think. So I don't know what to think going into this, like because dishing out ASL, I thought, well, that sort of counters out a lot of the High Elves' advantages. It's like mirror matches counters all the advantages really as High Elves. So I lined up the Phoenixes on the. That's not a very good photo, but for some reason I haven't taken very many of this one. So I lined up all the Phoenixes, and the there's a unit of Silver Helms at the top where that dice just to the right of that forest there, and my opening move is to charge those Silver Helms with one of the Phoenixes. And I don't want to go too far into it, but there's a rules dispute with the other player, and then you dish out sportsmanship awards for the best. Really, it's usually for the best game you've had or whatever. But in this case, we couldn't agree on the interpretation of the rules. We called over the TO, who made a decision, and then everyone just got on with it. And like, well, that's exactly how it should be done.
Yeah, exactly that. Like, if there's a genuine disagreement, as long as it's done in the right way, and like no one's trying to get like nasty or aggressive or anything like that, you just
it was
you call a TO, and the TO makes a decision.
Yeah, because it's easy when when everyone agrees with everything, but when you're playing someone who doesn't agree, and then it's I accept the decision, move on. That is really good sportsmanship, I thought. So I gave I think he was called John. Sorry if you're listening. I gave him his most sporting award straight away because it's like, well, yeah, it's easy to give them out when nothing bad happens, but when there is something that happens, then you fully deserve. Anyway, but the High Elf edition, they failed. I am able to make that charge. They failed their leadership test and run off the board. Like, this guy knows my pain. Like, this High Elf leadership issue is obviously not just limited to myself. So anyway, I think I try to charge. Yeah, I go into his Phoenix with my Phoenix, and I think my Phoenix loses actually because his Phoenix comes down past that house, and I thought, fuck it, I'll just have to pin it with something. So I charged the Silver Helms into it. The Silver Helms tie that Phoenix up for about 3 rounds. I don't know how they did it. They kept passing the leadership test. You couldn't get a wound on them. They were making the rough saves. Like, what's happened to these Silver Helms? They've pulled it out of the bag at the last game, having done practically nothing for the rest of it. So they deal with that. This big block of there we go. That's his block of Phoenix Guard. So I think it's turn 2 or 3. I think at this point I've got to go for it because they come out of position. They're sort of lined up next to the Spearmen, and they're next to a hill with the bolt throwers on. So I charge. He's got a unit of Dragon Princes, 10 of them, and I've got 5 Silver Helms. And at that point, it's my turn. So I thought, it's charge or be charged. They might do something, they might not. Charge into them, throw them away. Because then at least you're getting the strength 5 rather than them getting the strength 5. My unit of 10 Reavers sort of goes round the left-hand side of the board up towards the hill, which is in the top left-hand side with the bolt throwers on. They take ages to get round there. Nothing really happens on that side. So the Phoenixes go into the Phoenix Guard in an ironic ending. And I think it takes about 2 turns to 2 full game turns to just stomp them into nothing. And the amount of ward saves he failed was actually painful. Because Alariel's in there on life. And so she regen and what's it called? Regrowth, sorry, to bring them back up. But I can stop. Now the Phoenixes are actually turned on. So So they're actually making good thunderstomps and they're hitting things. Unfortunately, I have to kill the Ever Queen with that Phoenix on the top left-hand side. I felt awful about that.
Means you can't use her anymore events.
No, she doesn't die. She just has to have a lie down. These two Phoenixes, where are we? They stomp these down in about 2 turns, I think, and turn around, go into the Phoenix Guard. The bolt throwers die to the Reavers. I think I kill I kill all of the Phoenix Guard, all of the Spearmen. I get the bolt throwers. The Dragon Princes kill my Silver Helms, turn around, charge into the rear of the Phoenixes, but by then there's nothing left. The Phoenix Guard are gone after about a turn. They start taking damage. They run away. They got run down, and at the end there's I think there's this Phoenix. No, this Phoenix gets charged by 2 of my Phoenixes. It lasts longer than I think it would, and then it eventually it breaks and runs and gets mown down. I then put my Reavers on top of the objective, which you can see there. It's my objective from the narrative event. The crossed Phoenix Guard polearms there. Yeah. So they land on top of that, claim the objective, and it's a 20-0. But he had some horrific rolling on the Phoenix Guard. Like, I was actually wincing because, like, when if you play High Elves, you've been there when this is a 4 ward save, and they're not making any of them. And it's horrific when that happens. And he had some really unlucky rolls with magic. And at one point, because I forget what it was, he'd done the magic in the wrong order. Oh, yeah, he didn't know that you couldn't cast with more than 6 dice. So he'd done something in the wrong order. He wanted 8 dice something. So I just said, we'll just redo the magic phase. Because I think that was the fairest way to do it, which is fine. It's more fair to do that than cancel the phase.
That's a nice gesture, to be fair, because mistakes happen.
Yeah, well, it's not like
they don't know.
It's no advantage. If it's the rules, if the rules are not right, you can correct them and just reset it. It's fine. But he had some horrendous magic rolls, and if the ward save situation had been different, he wouldn't have lost Steadfast so quickly. But he didn't have the Ban of the World Dragon, so the Phoenix's magical attacks could kill Amariel because she only grants a 5-up non-magical attack ward save. So I could have killed Alariel. I worked out I could have killed Alariel 1 turn earlier, but I thought, well, I'll go for combat res in case the Phoenix Guard can break me on static res.
Should have still killed Alariel because frankly she deserves it.
Does not. Didn't feel very good about that at all.
That filthy elf whore deserves everything she gets.
That's Marathi you're thinking over there.
They're the same person, aren't they?
No. One's Cher, that's Marathi, and the other's Kylie Minogue. That's what Alariel is. But anyway, yeah, I think everything is dead. If not everything, nearly everything, and I get the objective, so it's a 20-0, and I think I got something like 3,000 something.
Wow, big win,
victory.
Big end.
So it was a big end, but I mean, I can't take too much credit because the dice gods just abandoned them, and you should make more. Like the thunderstomps were going up. He was like when you just rolled, you just like there's one.
No, I get that. It's fair to say, but like it's a dice game, and
it is a dice game. And
the saddest part is we've all been on the receiving end,
and I've been there. For like, will Assyrian just turn this ward save on? You know, like, well, have these all seen their death at the same time? What's going on here?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow, isn't it?
But
when that happens,
yeah. But like, if it had been another player with a different attitude, it could have been a really horrible game where you just like, can this end now?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was.
Not to be fair, that's a good point. Now, like that's probably exactly what I would go back to my game 3 with Alex. Like it could that sort of thing could easily be taken the wrong way by someone if they don't play the game the right way.
Yeah. So I had no problem straight away giving the most important points to game 5. And that was it.
So did you finish on two wins,
two losses, 1 draw. Exactly balanced.
Exactly balanced as all things should be.
And to that end, I won the most average player award.
And your new nickname of Mr. Average.
Mr. Average, which was I've got them here. It's a very nice set. Yeah, bang in the middle. And I got a very nice set of glass. They look like D&D dices.
Yeah, they were a lovely set of dice, to be fair. I was a little bit jealous.
Well, you didn't be that jealous because you came...
I came third.
Yes.
So yeah, I came third. It was really lovely. I got a really lovely wooden shield as a trophy, which is ace. And when I eventually actually get my game properly put together, that'll go up on the wall. It is lovely. As all the prizes from Cardiff always are. Like Chris runs an event that's always well supported.
Oh, yeah, the prizes are amazing. That table was full of them.
Yeah, and I also won Best in Race Vampires. Which felt really good.
It was tight for a time between you and other Scott, wasn't it?
It was really tight for a while between me and Scott, to be honest. Going into game 4, I think he was about 4 points ahead of me or something like that. It was very, very close. Very close. But unfortunately, I had a really good day too, and
he didn't. No, he had a terrible day.
Game 4, he was against the Empire Light Council list that won the event.
Well, that's how it goes.
Light Council versus Hex Race never goes well.
No, because he had a unit of 10, didn't he? Or...
He had a unit 10 and a unit 7. Like really cool list. Manfred list as well.
Banishment.
Yeah, I was really pleased to take best vamps, and I was over the moon to finish third. And I also came joint top on sportsman votes, which I can only say thank you to all the people who I played. Like I had 5 really, really excellent, really good fun games. That was joint with Toby, who we need to split a voucher for, which was cool. Again, another lovely sort of prize from Cardiff. Toby took the shield, and Thad got one for finishing third. And also to round out, Stan also came best in race with Goblins.
He did, yeah.
So it was a very successful trip by the team. But, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not nice to win. It's lovely to win. I wish I'd came first for the sword. The dice bags that the guys who won Best Painted and stuff got were really cool. Really lovely prizes. But it was a cracking event.
Well, I think it's harder to get exactly in the middle than it is to win. So, really...
Is it indeed? Yeah. Is that what you're going with?
It's hard. It's very difficult to get bang in the middle.
Right.
So
you're exceptionally average, is what you're saying.
I'm stunningly average.
Stunningly average. So no, event was great. I'm obviously very pleased to finish third. With that in mind, then what did you make, or how would you summarise your list? What's your feelings? Did you enjoy the meme?
No. No, I didn't. It's so I love magic and it's gotten on, and shooting is so handy and it's gotten on, and this didn't detract from how much I enjoyed the event at all. I'm not saying that, but it was a chore to play it because.
Are you saying it's the first and last time you ever taken that many 5 phoenixes unless you play a passive game? I
won't be taking that again. Because once you get over it's got 5 phoenixes, but that's all it's got, and it's not very. I didn't find it particularly fun to play, and I didn't find it particularly interesting to play, because you've got one tactic: you either charge or you float about and get picked off. So I tried it. I'll not be trying it again.
Are you glad you took it?
Yeah, I am glad to try it because it's nice to. Because
I didn't enjoy it. It was very a completely different, really out there, really weird, skewed list.
Yeah, it's because I would just take to TC to GTs. I just take the Ilaria list. But I thought I'll try, because they've got the 50% Lords Heroes things. I'll just see what ludicrous stuff I could take, and I probably should have taken it a bit more seriously. But I don't regret it. But I've learned that I'll not be playing it again. Certainly not in a tournament.
Yeah.
What did you think of your screamy Manfredy list?
Really enjoyed it. To be fair, I actually really loved my list. The addition of Manfred made the list much better and much better to play. Because once I remember his rules, the guy's just a magical powerhouse, having a Lordmaster of Vamps and a Lordmaster Death with LD10, and I had him on a fly and mount. So as long as I kept him safe, he was okay.
Which is easy to do when he flies.
And with infinite height, hills, and buildings.
Yeah, that's a big advantage.
And he didn't die in a single game.
Impressive. I think all my characters died in every game.
Really enjoyed the list. It was a nice way to finish with me VC for a while, because I'm parking them. They're going to get put on a shelf in my gaming room, and I won't be using them for quite a while now. So it was a lovely way to sign off with the VC for a while.
Yeah, third's pretty good. It's not average, but nothing. What is?
Only one person can be, though, Mark, isn't that right?
There can be only one.
There can be only one. You're essentially the ultimate Highlander.
But yes, I had a great time. The fact that I didn't really like my list doesn't detract from it being a great event.
That's how good an event it was. When you didn't particularly enjoy, but the event itself, you still had a good time.
Yeah, and I hope the fact that I was not enjoying my list didn't impact on any of my opponents and enjoying their games. I hope it didn't. But for Cardiff Crusades 2 or 3 or whatever it is next year, I won't be bringing that. But I'm thinking about something a bit different, something maybe involving a Star Dragon and an Archmage. Don't know. Might be thinking about that. Bit of testing.
Nice. Well, obviously, much closer at the time after we've tested and actually played some games, we'll have to once again do a pre-tournament chat.
Yeah, there's nothing else tournament-wise for the rest of the year. What's left of it? I think the next one is going to be. Is it March time? It actually might be Cardiff Crusade.
Yeah, next Cardiff Crusade. Yeah.
So we'll do something for that close at the time. Any last thoughts for this year's tournament season, which is now over?
No, it was really, really good and fun time this year at events. I think if I cast my mind back to really early in the year, I went to the event in Scotland, a doubles event, and we won. I won that with Andy. That was good fun. The guys up there are lovely. Anyone who's not been to one, can attend one. Again, it's a long way up in North Keswick. Really good bunch of guys up there. Really play Warhammer in a lovely spirit. That was good fun. The Triple Crown events that I've attended this year have been just the best. The narrative particularly was just the best event I think I've ever attended.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was amazing. Genuinely amazing. The guys ran a phenomenal event, and like the actual GTs are good fun, and I've really enjoyed those. But the narrative event was just genuinely one of the most enjoyable weekends of Warhammer I've ever had. And then to finish off with the Cardiff Christmas Crusade, with a couple of sort of smaller events run by Andy in the northeast, and amongst that was really good. But yeah, Cardiff Crusade, good way to finish from the main event scene. Cracking year of Warhammer. It's really lovely to see more events on the calendar as well, and every event being very well supported. To the point that they're just selling out, which is just incredible. Like, for a game that's been dead for a decade, it's really amazing. It's such a loyal following, and so many people still enjoy it. Like, it's just such a joy to be a part of such quite a vibrant scene. Like, and genuinely thank you to all the people that keep attending events, and more importantly, keep running the events, so I can keep attending them and having a really good time and meeting some just really like lovely people.
Yeah. And second that, it's it's because I'm not going to run one because I'm too lazy. So the people who do run one, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the new year for more events.
Yeah, absolutely, as many as we can get to. We're like bad smells. Can't get rid of us. They should sell out tickets beforehand, in which case you've definitely gotten rid of us, unfortunately. But
well, no, I don't want to say that was rigged, not mention any Triple Crown tournaments, but
just like you guys from the north, you get lost.
They probably would have to triple our prize if we won the quiz 3 years in a row.
That's what it is. It was a bit about the quiz, but no, honestly, like genuine hats off to
well, everyone.
Tabletop in Scotland, to Andy in the northeast, Shane when he runs events, Chris in Cardiff, and
the Triple Crown guys.
Like fantastic! Like thank you so much.
Well, that's Cardiff Crusade wrapped up. Yeah. I can't think of anything else to say. So we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Scott. We'll see you on the next episode.
Next time.